Hello, everybody. In this video, I'm going to do a really quick little explanation on how to take screenshots of your program so that you can submit your homework correctly. I know some of you that might know how to code might wonder why this step is necessary, but in my many years of teaching, I found that this is actually one of the most effective ways to quickly look at code and grade it. And it also kind of creates a little bit of like a log or an archive of your work. Um, so please follow along with the steps I'm about to show you. So the first thing that you'll see up on my screen here is I am inside of an IDE. Currently, I'm using Visual Studio Code, but it doesn't really matter which software package you're using to do the work. The point is basically that I ask you in the instructions to first, make sure that you complete the exercise correctly. So for example, follow all the instructions. If you're in the Python class with me here at WCTC, we basically walk through all of these exercises during class time. So it's really a matter of just kind of following along. But as you're doing the work, you want to make sure that all the instructions are met. So like whatever you're asked to do, that you do all of it, right? And I'm not doing a complete walkthrough of an exercise here, just how to turn it in. So I just want to be clear on that. So let's say my program is complete, and right now I have just a really simple little hello world thing going on for sake of demonstration. I do ask in the instructions that the screenshots get captured on your operating system using whatever screen capturing tools available on that operating system. So currently I'm on a Windows 11 PC, so I will use the snipping tool that's available to do that, and then I will insert those screenshots into Microsoft Word. If you happen to be on a Macintosh, they have a different screenshot tool there, and if you just do the spotlight search and just search for screenshot, you will find it. All right, so on a Windows PC, which most of us are on, the first thing you want to do is go to your start menu and just start typing the word snipping, and this tool should pop up. I do want to note that I am on Windows 11, not on Windows 10. I assume most of you are there with me at this point. When the snipping tool pops up on the screen, you simply want to click that new button. And the one thing that we kind of get in the habit of, if you know how to take screenshots, is you capture the whole screen. That's not really useful for me as an instructor. What would be better is to selectively capture the parts that we need. So you notice here, I'm just like cropping really close to the code that I need to show. It is possible, if your program is very lengthy, you might have to do multiple screenshots to show all of it. Once it's inside the snipping tool like this, you can either do a Control C to copy, or you can come up here to the toolbar and use this tool to do a copy. Meanwhile, I will open up a brand new Word document. If you prefer to use Google Docs, or if you're on a Mac, if you're using Pages, that's absolutely fine. Just make sure at the end you save the document in Microsoft Word format, ideally. And that would be with a DOC or a DOCX extension. Now, once you're in the document, you want to label it. So like, for example, if we were doing the first module, I might say Module 1 Labs, and then maybe you can make that fancy or change the fonts or whatever. But here we are doing Lab 1, right? And so I might do something like this, where I'm just pasting in my code. And the general rule of thumb is, when you do these screenshots, that the font size that's inside here is kind of close to what's in the document, so it's readable. If it's like super tiny like this, I might have a real hard time reading it, and maybe kick it back to you if I don't like it. All right. The other part that I want is not just the code, but I also want output of the program. So when you get a program successfully running, it will pop up in what we call the console or the terminal. And really, this is the output of the program right here. It shows that it's working. And I would also screen capture that piece. So I would come back to the snipping tool, click new, and then capture that terminal output separately. And you can zoom in strategically, but I do want to see that, it's a running version, from whatever your IDE is. Once again, I'll do a copy, bring it back over to the document and paste it in, right? And that's maybe even a little large, so I'll just bring it down a little bit in size. And then you might also want to, say, hey, this went great, or something like that. Just to give me a little bit of feedback. And if it was a horrible disaster, I want to know about that too. I mean, I want to know what your experience was In many cases, I get people to go, no problems here, worked great, or whatever. That's on you. When you're all done, you'll put all of your labs, like, so for we do labs kind of in a collection here. So you put all of your labs in here. I can look at all of them at once, and then you would submit them singularly to an area like this, where we have one lab submission thing, which would collect all three of the labs here. Now, the other piece that's important is also taking your code files and zipping them. And I always make this assumption that everybody knows how to do that, but the reality is that's not always the case. So, for example, right now, and I'm trying to find this on my machine, this is not my normal way of working here, but I have a folder that I created in my file system just specifically for this class. And what really is a good idea, by the way, is to create a folder for each module. So maybe you'll have like module one, or maybe even be smarter and have one for module one lab and module one assignment. You could have two separate folders. You can put all your code files inside there. And then when you're all done, you can simply right click and zip that folder. Now you'll see on the Windows 11 menu, it's just a right click and it comes up right to the forefront of that little right click menu. But for anybody that's still on Windows 10, and a lot of people are, the menus don't look like that at all on Windows 10. They look like this, right? And in which case you want to go to the Send To menu and choose Compress Zipped Folder. If you're on a Macintosh, it's kind of the same procedure. You can control click or I think two-finger tap if you have your machine set up that way, and then choose to zip the file. There are instructions for how to do that, but this is how I would like you basically to turn in the work. So when you go to the submission area in the assignment, you will submit both the zip file with the code, so it might be multiple code files, and then the Word document, and you submit those two as two separate items. So if your Word document happens to be in your code folder, don't zip that to submit that separately. The advantage of that for me is when I go to grade it, the document just pops up on the screen. I can see the code. If I have suspicions that there's problems with the code, I then unzip your code files and run them. I try to avoid doing that because it really slows down my grading. And with a large class like I typically have, we're looking for efficiencies. All right, well, hopefully that helps you know how to do this. And if you have any questions about it, you can always reach out to me. I'm happy to help you.